Hello, crafting friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I have a really fun fold to share with you, and I think you're going to enjoy it. It's called let me get this started. Good. It's called a Stadium Fun Fold, and it is an incredible pop-up card. So let me show you the sets I'm going to be using tonight. I'm only going to be using one little tiny stamp in the second set, but this is the new Meant to Be stamp set, and it's found in the January to April scrapbooking flyer, and it coordinates with the set that's in the catalog called Be My Valentine. So in this one, I'm going to be just using the little antenna in the Be My Valentine. The Be My Valentine set coordinates with this punch, and the Meant to Be has a set of dies and has a really great set of hexagons. Hi Bonnie, thanks for joining tonight. So it's a great set. I love it. And it's fun. And it's perfect for what we're going to do today. So this card involves a lot of steps. I won't lie. It's not hard, but there's a lot of steps. For instance, we're going to need 7 bumblebees for this card. So I have created 6 of them and put them together, and I'm going to show you how to put together one. That's the first thing I want to let you know. The second thing, like I normally do, I've die cut some things, and I've also just put some paper together. This piece here measures, well, the Petunia Pop measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and the DSP measures 3 3/4 by 5. And so this comes from the, let me just grab, I have a half package here, so let me just grab the half package. It comes from the Sweet as Can Be Designer Series paper. So I'll be showing some of that hopefully later on, but I want to get started on this project because, as I said, it is going to take a little bit of time to put this together. So here is what you need. I'm going to move those out of the way. You are going to need 2 pieces, well, 3 pieces, because you need some scraps. Let me just move the stamps out of the way. You are going to need 2 pieces of bubblegum pink cardstock. No, bubble bath. I always want to call it bubblegum. It's bubble bath. Bubble bath ink. 1 piece needs to be 4 1/4 by 11, and this piece here needs to be 7 by 10. We're going to do some scoring on both of these in just a moment, so I'm going to just set that aside. Then you're going to need some scraps of white to cut 2 of the smallest hexagons, and then you're going to need a scrap of the bubble bath to cut 1 size larger hexagon, and you're going to need 2 more pieces of Designer Series paper, and this measures 4 by 5 1/4. So let's start to do the stamping and put together our last butterfly, and then we're going to score, do some cutting, and get this card put together. So I'm going to set this aside for a moment, and these 2 aside. So first thing first, on one of the hexagons, I am going to be stamping the greeting, and the greeting is going to be in Memento Black, and the greeting I'm using is Cute as You Can Be. How I line this up on my stamp, on my block, I used my grid on my glass mat, and I lined up the C and the E so that they were level, because the words go kind of all over the place, and that way everything else is where it needs to be. So let's just stamp that right in the center. There we go. I love the font. It's just so cute. And then what I'm going to do is just add, I'm going to use some glue dots. I'm just going to add I die cut in Petunia Pop one of the hearts, and I'm just going to add this right here, and then I'm going to adhere this to this piece of bubble bath cardstock, and then I'm going to use some dimensionals. I hope they're over here. This card has, it just took a lot of prepping. So let me grab some dimensionals. We'll just open a new pack here. Oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Bonnie. I've got my boss. Today was the last day of Spirit Week at the school I teach at. And yesterday, since I'm a 5th grade teacher, we had our grade level competition, had to wear our grade level, our team colors, and I'm team purple. And the 7th and 8th grade had sports day. And so today, the 5th and 6th grade had sports day. And so I wore my Boston Bruins jersey. And yes, it's black. I didn't even think of that. Good observer, Bonnie. Okay, so I just wrapped this with a piece of white ribbon, and I am going to put this on the front, and this is going to go on to the front of our card. So we'll just put this aside for right now. On this one, I'm just going to stamp a pink little heart. And it's the first time I'm using this stamp. So on the back side, I'm just going to kind of move it around to rough it up a little bit, just so that it will adhere the ink real well. And I'm just going to practice right on this piece of paper. Yes, perfect. And I'm just going to put this down here. This is going to go on the inside of the card. Now the last stamping I want to do is I want to show you how I made the bumblebee. So for the bee's body, I used the small bumblebee. The good thing about the first stamps that I showed you is that you can make 2 different sizes. And with this card, you want things that are going to pop up that are smaller in size. So I used the small bumblebee. I stamped, so there was 3 stamps that were used to stamp this. The yellow is the Daffodil Delight, and I stamped that with the body stamp. Then the stripes and the tail, or the singer, I stamped with Memento Black, and that was the 2nd stamp. And then the little face was the 3rd stamp. And then I die cut it. So now, and then I used Pool Party ink, and I stamped the wing, and I die cut that out. And now I'm going to stamp. I wanted to use the antenna in this set for the stamp in the meant to be is a little bigger than I wanted to use for this. So I took the smaller one out of the Be My Valentine. All right, so and then I used this punch. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you use the die that matched? Well, I was telling my friend Joyce this afternoon, who she might be watching tonight, that when I was punching out die cutting out the, let me just grab one, got some over here. This is the 2nd die I've done this with. So I was die cutting these little black antenna with the die that comes with the set to put on all these little bumblebees, and the die kind of fell off the plate as I was taking it out and went in between where the platform comes together and is now in the bottom of my embossing machine. So I had to change my design and stamp all these little antennae, and then I'm using the punch that goes with the other set to punch them out. To put it together, now I used a glue dot that I put on the front of the little antenna, and I'm just moving it so it will not be on the back where it's going to get on the back of the bee. And I'm going to add the little antenna to the bee like that. And then I'm going to use some liquid glue, and I'm just going to put a drop, there we go, on the antenna, and then I'm going to bring my bee back and put the antenna behind it. And that's what this bee looks like when it's all said and done. I also changed the direction of my bees, and I have some going up and down, and I have some going in the opposite direction. So those are the 3 different kinds of bees that I created. Okay, so I'm going to put those aside, put this part aside, and let's do some scoring. And I'm just going to set all of that aside, including this, and we'll get my score tool out. So like I said, it's just there's just some different, lots of different steps for this card. It's not terribly hard. It's just, I would say, time consuming. So let me get there we go, my stylus. So on the piece that measures 4 1/4 by 11, we're going to score at 5 3/8. So 5 3/8, and then we're going to score again at 5 5/8. So we're just making a little thickness for the fold. Then on the piece of 7 inches by 10, I am going to score this at 4. Then I'm going to score it at 8. I'm going to score it at 8 3/4. And then I'm going to score it at 9 1/2. So again, that was 4, 8, 8 3/4, and 9 1/2. And I'm going to, remember, put these dimensions in the comments. Now what I'm going to do with this piece of paper, I am going to take my paper cutter and I am going to cut these into 1-inch strips. Okay. And you'll get 7 of them. So I'm just using the 1 inch over here on my right side. To measure that 1 inch off. And these strips are going to be the mechanisms for the Stadium pop-up fold. Okay, my last 2. There we go. Now I'm going to do this 7 times. This part doesn't take long. It's an easy fold, but I'll do it 7 times, so you'll be able to see it a lot. So I've got 3 score lines here. This was the 9 1/2, the 8 3/4, and the 8. So the middle fold, I'm going to do a valley fold, And then the other two I'm going to do a mountain fold. So that's what it looks like. Make sure you can see that. With this together, I am going to fold the other score line, and I'm going to take my liquid glue. We want a really strong adhesive, so I'm going to use liquid glue, and I'm going to glue it at that end. Going to hold it just for a few seconds to have it adhered, and when I open it up, this is what it looks like sideways. This is what it looks like top down, and this is what it looks like on the front. I'm going to do the same thing with all 7 of these folds. So I'm folding a valley, mountain, and mountain. I'm going to add some adhesive, fold the other fold, and hold it in place for a second so that it will adhere. And there's 2. So again, valley, mountain, mountain. Add my adhesive to that little tiny flap and adhered. And they're drying while I'm letting them. So a valley, mountain, mountain. And you can see I have that little flap right here. Add the adhesive, fold on the other score line, and just hold it for a second to adhere. There we go. 3 more. So I did the valley, mountain, mountain. And 2 more. So valley, mountain, mountain. You can see how fast that goes. Add some adhesive. Fold on the other fold, on the other score line. And let those dry. Okay, the last one. It's going to be a valley, mountain, mountain. Adhesive. So like I said, time consuming, but not difficult. So I'm going to just hold this together. Okay, so there are all of our mechanisms that we need for the card. So now I'm going to move to, okay, it was just here. Where did I put, oh, right here. Now we need some tear and tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be attaching these, and once I've got a few attached together, I'll hold it open so you can see what it's going to do. So I'm going to take this piece, and on the right side, I am going to put a piece of tear and tape. I'm going to remove the little strip, and I'm going to take another one of the mechanisms, and I want to place this, so I'm kind of going to use my my grid here. I want this at about the middle, so about a ½ inch. And I am going to, and I want it pretty straight. So I'm going to adhere those together. Then I'm going to, on that right side again, I'm going to add a strip of the tear and tape again. I'm just going to keep repeating this until I've got all 7 of them together. But I'll show you what it's going to look like in just a minute. Then I'm going to take another mechanism, and I am going to line this up again. There we go. So you can kind of get an idea what I'm doing. I'll put one more on and then I'll show you what is happening to these little mechanisms I made. This definitely would be a kind of card that is going to need extra postage. So just so that you're aware of that. But it definitely will be worth it. Okay, so imagine the card closed. And when you open it, this is going to open up like this. And you'll be able to put different, in this case, bees on those pieces there in that fold. So we've got 3 more pieces to add to have our mechanism be complete. And like I said, you want to use a really strong adhesive on this. So I am using tear and tape. Once you have some of these on, since they're 1 inch, it's easy to line them up because you can use the one on the bottom. Again, like I said, this card is easy, but time consuming. So it's not a card you're going to want to make 50 of. But boy, for a favorite relative, or in my case, one of my littles, this will be a fun card to make for them. Okay, 1 more to go. So much fun. Okay, I'm just going to, so you see how it's going to open up. So when you open it up, it's going to do this again. I'm going to put this aside, just set it down for right now, and I'm going to work on putting the rest of the card together so we can add that mechanism. So I had those 2 score lines that I'm going to now burnish. So like I told you, I've been taking some fun fold classes, and I'm going to have some real wow cards to share with you. So this, by having that little bit, you can see how it gives us a little bit of space so that we can put this mechanism inside the card. So now, on the front of the card, I'm going to add this, and it's probably right in front of me. My tear and tape, I mean not my tear and tape, here it is, my adhesive. So this is just going to go right on the front of the card. Let me just open that up so I can center it. Okay, there we go. So cute, isn't it? And I can add some bling and all of that later. Then I'm going to add these 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. Love the plaid. And I'm going to put it right inside here. And then I'm going to put the other one on the top piece. There we go. Okay, the last thing I want to put in, and I'm going to put this right over here by this side, because my mechanism is going to be like this. So I want you to be able to see that piece of white afterwards. So I'm going to just add a little adhesive, and then that's going to go right here. There we go. Now we just need to add this mechanism in. So this is going to be how I want it to be. Yep. So I'm going to start by adding a big block to hold this down. There we go, while I get some tear and tape off. And I am going to be putting 2 pieces of tear and tape on this. So I'm going to put it on the top, and then I'm going to turn this over and put it on the bottom. But I'm not going to take both of these off, both the top and the bottom off at the same time. So what I'm going to do is start with the top. So I'm going to take my tear and tape off. There we go. And let me grab my card. And I'm going to put this in up to the top score line. So I'm going to line this up so it fits inside the card up to that top score line, and I'm going to fold the card and press down. So you see when I open it, this is what we're going to see. Isn't that cool? So cool. Now I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to take this backing of the tear and tape off, and I'm going to close this side of the card and press down. And now we've got a pretty thick card. But now when I open it, there you go with the stadium card. Okay, now we're going to put the little pop-ups on. So what I am going to be doing is I've got 7 of these, so I'm going to be turning these in all different directions. So let me just lay them out before I add them to the card. So it goes that way and this way. And then that. Okay. Oh, I've got an extra one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I am going to be putting these on those little flaps. So on this one, I'm just going to be putting some adhesive right on this and down here. And I am going to place that in. I want to make sure that it's not going to go on. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure it's not going to go over. I don't want it to go outside the card. So I'm just going to hold that in place for a moment. Okay. Oh, nope, I've got to hold that in longer because it's only a little part that is being, let me just press down on that. Keep that down there for right now. good. Okay, now I'm going to take my next little guy, and I can put him any way I want on this fold. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive right at the bottom, and I'm going to have him sit a little over to the right as well. Okay. Then I'm going to add, I think I knocked some off my desk. Yes, I did. Okay. Then I'm going to have a bee going this way, so I'm going to set him a little further over here and put some adhesive right here. This, by using liquid glue, it allows you to have some movement and getting it to where you want it to be. So you can see the bees starting to take shape. So this one I'm going to put right in the middle. So when it closes up, you can see that they're not all in front of each other. Now I'm going to go to this next one. And put him right here, or her. And then next will be this one. You can see how you need a smaller image to put in the stadium card. And then finally, we've got our last one. And I just want to make sure that I want him or her to be inside the card. Just going to put a little drop right here. Okay, so you'll be using that nice little extra part right here. And then, like I said, I could add some bling. And then when you open it up, you have what they call the stadium effect. And I just think I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I just had to learn how to do it. And I just think it is so cool. So that is our Fun Fold Friday. And if you think this one is cool, wait till you see the next couple weeks, because I've got a lot of fun stuff to share with you over the next few weeks. And so I'm on vacation, so excited. I will be back Sunday night for our last Sunday of the Delightful Wishes. And I will be here Tuesday night because it's the last Tuesday of the month for Technique Tuesday. And of course, I'll be back next Friday with another awesome fun fold. So just so you can get another look at this, so adorable. If you try to make this card, please either send me a photo so I can post it in the comments, or post it in the comments yourself so that you can share how you interpreted this fun fold. Hope you all have a great weekend. I hope to see you Sunday night for Simply Stamping Sunday, and have a great week until next Friday. Good night, everybody.